Hi guys, welcome to the Patreon. I'm Brady.
And I'm Rosie, and we are going to chat with you like a little catch up today and then also talk about our most anticipated books that are coming out this year, as well as some other random books on our TBR.
Yes, so many good book releases coming out, and we were trying to make a list of our TBR. We were like, wait, why are all the books on our TBR list like new releases? So we're like, let's combine our TBR list with our most anticipated releases. So yay.
It just works out really well considering we also read a lot of the same books. So
Exactly. Fill me in. Fill everyone in. What have you been up to?
Well, I just got back from Cabo. I stayed at genuinely the most luxurious resort I have ever been at. We stayed at the LeBlanc in Cabo. Literally, we got off this like Mercedes Sprinter van and they gave me a wet towel to like wipe my hands with.
Oh my gosh.
And then they like had these like, the specific workers there like take you in. We sat down, they put this like hot pad on you, gave me a rose, gave me this like drink. I was like, what is this? I feel like I was not really supposed to be there. And then you have like a butler for most of the day too, where you can like ask them to like draw you a bath in the middle of the day. They can unpack your bags for you. It was crazy. So
do you like it more than where you and Ryan got married and like where you typically stay?
100%. I honestly thought that like the resort that we got married at in Cabo was like the creme de la creme, like the nicest resort ever, because that's all I'd ever experienced. And it's technically a 5-star luxury resort, but this one I think it's called like a 5-diamond luxury all-inclusive, which I didn't know I didn't know there was a difference.
Yeah.
Like food-wise, like the food at the other resort too is really good, but like the service was outrageous there. Ryan, we couldn't get into our room yet. So Ryan and I are using like the lobby bathroom. He's in there going to wash his hands. One of the one of the workers there is standing in the bathroom. He was cleaning. He stops cleaning while Ryan's in there. Ryan goes to wash his hand. The guy brings over a thing and squirts soap into his hands before Ryan starts washing his hands.
He's probably like,
no, literally Ryan was like, I got it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And like, it was really, really fun though. And I was there. If you guys don't know, I'm a wedding photographer too. So I was shooting a wedding there for this couple. So I did 3 different shoots there. So it was a very, very full-on work trip, but I mean, not a bad place to work.
Oh my God, not at all. And I feel like that's a really cool part about your job is that you get to experience new places and new things all the time. And okay, so I know you've been to Cabo like a bunch of times. Is getting a margarita at the airport when you land, is that like a thing? They have like a bar there, right? Like getting a spicy margarita. I feel like that's like part of the Cabo experience. I feel like every influencer or like person I see go to Cabo like lands and has a margarita in their hand immediately.
Yep. So, well, guess how much they are too?
Probably like $18.
$25 each. But it's all part of the experience. There's 3 or 4 different bars that you can go to right when you exit the Cabo airport. So once you get through customs, then you have to wait for your bag, and then you go through a second customs, and then you walk out. And if you have transportation planned for you, like we did with this situation, you still have to wait for everyone else to meet up with you. So during that time, you can go grab a drink. A lot of people will grab like a Corona or whatever. But like a very exciting part of getting to Mexico, because also like there's music blaring. You can order food at all these places too. When you're leaving Cabo, it's not as exciting. It's like, get your shit on this plane and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I feel like drinks taste different when they're in different vessels. There's this one bar up the street that always serves drinks in glasses, and I always ask for a plastic cup, and I'm like, it's not the same drinking a like cocktail out of like not like a fancy cocktail, just like a Deep Eddy lemon and water, which is what I drink, out of a plastic cup with ice rather than a glass with ice. It's just different. I always ask for plastic, and I feel like that plastic cup that you were holding with like the tahine rim, I was like, dude, dream. Like,
it's so good. The only bad thing is like if you get a drink like that and then you have to, get to your resort, the ride is never like smooth. It's so bumpy. So like you're in the back of the car, like hustled around, like it's almost spilling all over you. And you're like, okay, this isn't as glamorous. Like if you can finish your drink before you get in the car, that is the ideal thing to do. But yeah, like, I mean, the drinks are so outrageous, but it's just like a rite of passage. Like when you get to Cabo, you order a drink and like
100%. And don't they have like little like this is all from what it like picnic tables and like people just like sit around and drink and just like hang out before you even get there? Yeah.
Yep. It's very like sit and stay a while you figure out your ride situation. Cause like when we've gone in the past too, like if we have prearranged rides from like the resort, normally you have to wait still like for other people's flights to arrive. Everyone that we were driving with or riding with was all on the same flight, but they had all checked bags. So we didn't have long to wait for them.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to wait like 40 minutes for people, which is like when you arrange the rides prior, you think that you're like, oh, cool, we'll hop on this bus and we'll go. But like half the time it's like, no, you're going to be maybe waiting like 40 minutes to an hour for these people.
Yeah. Which honestly, like I'll wait for anything if there's a spicy margarita in my hand. Like sign me up. I could wait for a root canal and if I have a spicy margarita in my hand, cool.
You have not adapted the bars at dentist office yet, but like maybe someday soon.
Yeah, get me drunk before root canal and I'll do it.
Yeah, you're like, you can do anything. What I've been up to, nothing super crazy. I got home on Saturday, so just been kind of getting back into the swing of things with work, but that kind of has been consuming my brain for like the past 2 weeks. But what have you been up to since we chatted last?
Kind of the polar opposite, just staying home and getting stuff done. We're in the process of renovating our bathroom, so trying to get that finished. And honestly, just like sprucing up the house outside. Like right now it's 70 degrees outside. And our plan when Gavin gets home from work, we're going to go out and do yard work that we've been pushing off forever. So just kind of getting the house ready for spring cleaning, getting rid of clutter, just, you know, sprucing the place up.
Honestly, spring is truly the best time to do that though. It's like suddenly I want to like get rid of everything we have in this house and like have it to be like clean and fresh and ready to go for this new season. And I feel like you're always selling stuff on Poshmark. So you've been going through
I feel like, okay, Poshmark, I have a love-hate relationship with Poshmark. I love it because I have good stuff. Like I really have like good stuff with tags on it that I don't fit into, or I just never got around to wearing it and I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. But like getting someone to buy stuff, it's like, I feel like we are lucky because we have platforms that we can push it out to. And I never really sell on Poshmark to like make money. I more so just like want it to go to somebody else who's going to use it and love it. And brand new stuff with tags and all of that. And I've had stuff sitting on there with brand new with tags for ever. And it's just like getting it to move is hard, but then it's also like packing it up and printing the labels and all of that stuff. It's just like such a pain in the butt. But I do a lot on Poshmark and Pango. I sell a lot of books on Pango. And my mail person probably thinks that I like run a small business because I do porch pickups and I'll just fill bins with like packages. The poor woman, she's so nice, but she's probably like, what is this girl doing? Like randomly every 2 months, there's just a bin of 30 packages to go out.
Well, also like that was my issue with Poshmark. And because like I've never got into it because I one time like, you know, it takes forever to like take the photos and make sure they're good quality photos and then make sure the descriptions are all accurate with your sizing and where you got it from and the condition. And then like I would sell like maybe like 3 things. And or like people would ask me like the questions that are already answered, like what size is it? And I'm like, it's right there. And so then I would just get impatient and I'm like, I'm just going to go take it to like the youth ranch near us and just get rid of it. But like, it is hard because like, I mean, if you have clothes that you haven't worn a ton of like, or had even much time in at all, it's like, these are brand new.
Yeah. And I started offering up clothes to my friends, like on my private Snapchat story first and being like, anyone who's a size, whatever, like I have these shoes or these jeans or this top. And I would rather give them to my friends than go through the hassle of shipping stuff on Poshmark. But like, okay, for example, when I went to Aspen, I bought 2 pairs of moon boots in 2 different sizes from 2 different places because gay. I can't.
I know you can turn those hand signals.
I know you can turn them off, but they're kind of a fun surprise.
They are. It's always like, oh, it's kind of exciting. It just like adds a little extra glimmer to the on vids.
But I have a pair of moon boots, brand new in the box, never worn, that I can't return because it's been too long or something. And I don't want to just get rid of them. So they're just sitting there brand new in the box, waiting for somebody to buy them on Poshmark. But I also don't want to mark them down too much because I want to get my money's worth. I want to recoup my money, but they're also not moving and they're just sitting there and whatever.
Well, kind of tough time to sell moon boots in the spring.
No, and exactly. So
like everyone's like, I don't need moon boots. Like if you try to sell those in like November, they're probably going to fly off. Like everyone's going to want them.
Right. But do I feel like holding on to them that long? Like, is the $200 worth it? It's
for sure worth it to get your money back, but I feel like everyone's house, you have a lot of stuff. And so it's like, if you have extra stuff that you genuinely are not using, it's like, I can't even look at stuff like that. I'm like, get it out of my house.
Like these moon boots I'm going to kick them to the moon because I'm tired of looking at them.
Yeah, they gotta go.
Yeah, you're done.
That sounds fun. I'm excited to see your bathroom renovation. Did you guys do like a full gut of your bathroom or?
Total gut, total like started from the bottom. Now we're here. We still don't have much going on in there right now, but when we
Is that
do it,
where the
it's gonna be
possum
great.
came through?
That is where the possum came through. Yeah.
I will never forget. I like that video didn't go viral, did it?
It got like 40,000 views. But
Okay.
I think a lot of them were like my followers and like, cause it got a lot of engagement. Like everyone was commenting like, Brady, what the hell?
The
And for
moment I saw that
anybody,
video, I was like, this video is going to get like 4 million views of people being like, what do you mean there's a possum in your house? Because
yeah,
literally was, I just can't believe that happened to you. That is seriously so crazy.
yeah. For anybody who's new here, I woke up one morning and of course it was the one morning that Gavin was away. He was fishing a tournament. So he was literally 100 miles out in the middle of the ocean. And I woke up in the morning because Millie was freaked out. She heard something and I was shining the flashlight around the room, not really expecting to see anything, but there was a baby possum. I'll insert the photo on the bedroom floor. And it froze and I froze and I just like this is more like a this moment, but thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Long story short, it came in under our house because we were renovating our bathroom and it came up a hole that was just in the floor and we thought was covered and it wasn't, and it made its way into the bedroom and eventually made its way out. Gavin's dad thankfully was around. He came over and we scooted it out the front door with a broom and yeah, so long story short, I woke up one morning with a possum in my bedroom. So it was cute. They do not carry rabies. Anybody who ever, if your dog is ever around a possum, they're actually very clean animals. They don't carry rabies and they're actually really good to have around, just like not in my bedroom.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, well, I can't even imagine the stress of waking up and there being like a critter in your room that's not supposed to be there. Like, I mean, good thing Millie was probably like, Mom, like you've got to
thank
wake
God
up.
she didn't go after it. Like, God bless. Like if she was afraid of it. She like hid under the bed and I was honestly thankful for it because it left. It just like made itself. It literally went under the bedroom door and just walked down the hallway and was hiding under this couch in that back corner. And I locked Millie in the bathroom and couldn't find it. That was the issue. Put Millie on the leash, let her sniff around, and she wouldn't leave the couch alone. And I was shining my flashlight and I was like, there it is, back, just sitting in the corner. It was just gross.
Terrifying. It reminds me of like that Spider-Man meme where they're like this. It's like you and the possum were like.
Literally, me, Gavin's dad, and the possum were all like, it was probably so confused. Like, yeah, I was confused. It was confused.
It sounds like it was probably way more scared of you than you were scared of it.
100%.
So, like, yeah, it's like, okay, just get out of my house and go find your mother. Like, I can't have you here anymore. You cannot live here.
Of course, Gavin's not home. Like, it's the one thing that would happen when he's not here. And they also, when they get nervous, I've done all the research, they grind their teeth and they drool. So I initially thought it had rabies because it was leaving drool puddles wherever it was. I sanitized the FUCK. I guess I can say I sanitized the fuck out of this house for days. And so I thought it had rabies initially, but they don't carry rabies. But I know everything there is to know about possums now. So if anybody ever has one in their house.
Yeah. That is like ingrained in my brain as like a core Brady moment of watching you on social media, being like, oh my God, Brady and a possum.
I'm glad that I can provide that for you.
Yeah, thank you for being my entertainment.
You are so welcome. Yeah, that was a wild day.
Is there anything else you want to chat about before we get into our TBR?
I don't think so. I guess maybe before we move on, if anybody has any content suggestions, anything you guys want to see from us, you can take time right now and drop it in the comments and let us know what you want to see. We always say it, but you guys are the ones like paying for this content. So we want to be making content that you guys want to be seeing. So if there's anything that you want more of, anything you want less of, anything we should change, definitely let us know because we're always open to all of the feedback.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I want to we always want to make this like better for you guys. So if there's anything that, you have feedback or criticism, constructive criticism, we'd love to hear it.
It'd be nice.
Yes. We're sensitive. Okay, we were just talking about our general TBR list, like Brady was saying, and there are so many good new releases coming out this year. So we just thought we might as well chat about those and see if you guys are as excited about them as we are. Just like do like a general TBR at the end of like some books that we have been maybe had on our TBR list for a while, but for some reason haven't gotten around to. You want to kick us off?
I feel like the book that's taking the internet and the world by storm right now is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I mean, she is like killing it. She's in the spotlight. It was the GMA pick of April, which is amazing. She's really just like killing it. And if any of you guys don't follow her on TikTok and Instagram, she's hilarious and her family's hilarious and her dogs are funny, her kids are funny. Highly recommend. She's just a great person overall. She also, I feel like a lot of people don't know this. She owns a bakery, Nadia Cakes, and she was on Food Network and won Cupcake Wars. I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't.
Yeah, she owns a bakery, and a very well-known bakery, and yeah, it's like I feel like we should do like a road trip, maybe not, maybe like a tour, and we go to like Nantucket. We can go to Nadia Cakes, like we can go to like all the spots.
Oh my gosh, no, that would be a dream to like hit up like book spots. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, I feel like we should like do that.
We can then document it, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be very fun to do that. Yeah. The notoriety that she's getting for this book is so well deserved. Like truly, yours truly and Part of Your World are such good books. And like she just writes characters so well. I still haven't read Just for the Summer, but like once I finish these books that I'm in the middle of, that is exactly what I'm gonna go read next. Because I need like a good weather book, like something happy and like springy or summery, because I feel like I've been reading a lot of thrillers. And now once the sun comes out, I'm ready to read like happier things.
100%. Also, like it's crazy how much the weather affects our moods or like what we like our reading moods. Like I feel like October to January is so thriller, fantasy, dark, dark and stormy night kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And now April's here. I'm like Ellen, Abby, feel good, happy. I need like, if the cover's bright and happy, I'm reading it. And I also feel like for Abby Jimenez, like you and I have very similar tastes in a lot of books, but specifically romance. Like I feel like we don't like a lot of the more popular romance that isn't like a substantial romance, like a romance with substance. Do you know what I mean? Like yours truly and Part of Your World are so different than your typical just like KU smutty romance, which we all love as a good palate cleanser, but like typical romance books, like a lot of them we're not a huge fan of, but Abby Jimenez just does it right with not even using like a lot of smut. Like her books don't have a ton in it. And if there is any, it's not super like descriptive or anything. We both adore them. And I feel like that speaks volumes because we're not huge romance lovers. Like we're more like thriller, historical fiction, kind of contemporary literature fiction kind of vibe.
Because I'm like, I like spicy romance. I mean, I read a lot of it. But like I got recommended this one and like genuinely every single chapter had like a sex scene in it, which is fine. But like, that's not what I want. Anywhere around 5 sex scenes in a book, I think is like max for me. Once I get past 5, I'm like actually skimming through. I'm like, I don't need to know what next whatever we're doing. I get it. I want my characters to like have actual issues and like them work through them in a realistic way versus like surface level, like, oh, like, we miscommunicated. Like we're just talking, like we hate the miscommunication trope because I'm just like, can we just have like a single conversation and all of this would have been worked out? That's what I feel like Abby Jimenez does a really good job with her writing. The characters are so layered.
Specifically yours truly, I feel like really like touches on that with Jacob having social anxiety as a male. I feel like a lot of times in romance books, the males are just like these big burly, like I don't have feelings, like robots. And in yours truly, he does. Like he's kind of a softie. He's emotional. He's sensitive. And I don't know. It's really making me excited to read Just for the Summer. Also, what is the book that you were referring to with smut in every chapter?
It's called Beautiful Bastard. I should have known.
Does the cover have a shirtless man on it?
A guy in a suit, a mutual that I have, and she's a big like spicy romance, and she was like, this is like genuinely my favorite one, which I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. I think it was on Kindle Unlimited. So literally like the first chapter they were screwing, and I'm like, wait, we don't even know each other yet. We haven't even built up. Like I'm not even invested in your sex life yet. And now I'm already hearing about it. I'm reading this book right now and we're at 50% and it's like a little bit more of a slow burn, but I'm like, I know it's coming. And I like the characters enough that now when we get there, I'm going to be excited for it versus like, I need to like know you before we're jumping in bed together. I think that's fair.
It's a great rule of thumb for anybody dating as well. I feel like that's a good, like, keeping with the summer vibe. Annabelle Monaghan is one of my favorite kind of smaller authors. She wrote Nora Goes Off Script and also Same Time Next Summer. And this is her next book, Summer Romance. Comes out, I believe, June 4th. That number is just like sticking in my mind. That might not be right, but it's the first week of June. I have an arc of it. I haven't read it yet. And again, another book I'm waiting that I feel like is just like I need to be sitting in the sun reading it. Like I don't want to sit inside and read it. Like I just need to be like in summer activities reading it. But really great, quick, easy, fun reads, I feel, are her first two books. So I have high hopes for Summer Romance as well.
I've read Same Time Next Summer. I think I read it at a bad time. Like, I feel like I wasn't in the mood for it. I didn't like love it, but I've heard also great things about Nora Goes Off Script. And if I remember right, I'm pretty sure her books, I mean, I know you said quick. They're like short, right?
Yeah.
They're like
75 to like 310 pages max.
Yeah. I picked up Same Time Next Summer at one of my local bookstores. And I don't think I was in the mood for it when I read it, but I want to read Nora Goes Off Script. That's on my TBR.
I feel like Same Time Next Summer kind of follows a very similar plot line to a lot of other books where, you know, every summer after, where you're meeting every year, Same Time Next Summer. It's basically in the title. Same with like 28 Summers. Like they follow that like year after year kind of vibe. So I feel like Nora Goes Off Script is a little bit different than that. So you might enjoy that one a little bit more. But again, a super quick read. I honestly think that one is like 280 pages. Like you'll fly through it.
When you say that, I'm almost positive I read Same Time Next Summer after every summer after and after 28 Summers. And I remember being like, all right. Yeah, I've read it. Like, I'm like, I think it was just like a bad timing thing where like I'd read too many books that followed a similar pattern. And I was like, okay, this is probably my most anticipated read of the year. And like, I've been so excited about it. And I know it is for you too, but Swan Song by Ellen Hildebrand, literally cannot wait. Every time that Ellen posts anything about this book, I'm like in her DMs, like, hey, I'm so excited. I literally can't wait. It's going to be so good. And it's now making me want to read The Castaways and The Rumor before that comes out. You don't have to, but it sounds like there might be some overlapping characters like she does in some of her novels. So I think I will be reading those before. That comes out in June, right?
June.
Something.
Literally have it right. I'm on Goodreads right now. Yeah, it comes out June 11th. So that's exciting. So Summer Romance comes out June 4th, and then a week from that, June 11th.
Oh my gosh, such good, like getting you right into like the summer mood. I'm so excited about that. Probably go to my local bookstore and pick that one up.
Love that. I can't wait. And for anybody that doesn't know, unfortunately, Swan Song is Ellen's last Nantucket novel. It's not her last book ever because she is currently writing a book with her daughter that I believe is set to come out in October. I don't know if that's correct, but I believe her daughter is like going off to college or is in college and they are co-writing a book together. And a lot of people think that apparently there's like a conspiracy that this isn't her last Nantucket novel and she's just like saying that. And I honestly don't think she would like joke about that. She's probably exhausted. I mean, what else can we talk about Nantucket? It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little island.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine her like just like, let me go, like let me retire. We're all like more.
I have never wanted to go somewhere that I've never heard of prior to like 2 years ago, like so badly. Like I'm like, I've got to go to Nantucket. The desire to go there only came from reading her books.
100%. Even the Winter in Paradise series, everywhere she talks about in St. John is also a place in St. John. Like I love, even some of the people are real. Like apparently there's like one bartender who works at one of the places she like referenced and he like still works there. And like people will go there and ask about him and he still works there. So I think there's like Nantucket tours you can like go and find. There's probably like blog posts of people who are like, these are the spots referenced in Ellen's book that you have to go to. And I know we've talked about even like going there together and like maybe doing like a couples weekend in October or something when it's not super summery, but like it's not cold yet. I feel like that would be fun. I've also would love to do like a Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, like fall leave changing road trip and like also hit Nantucket on the way, even though it's completely out of the way. I feel
but still, it's
while
like
you're there.
Yeah, those are like dream vacations. And if you haven't gone into any of like Ellen's novels, we've talked a little bit about this on our different accounts, but like I think that my first Ellen novel was Hotel Nantucket, which I feel like that's a good place to start. It's one of my favorites from her. And then like I went Hotel Nantucket into The 5-Star Weekend, which The 5-Star Weekend is like one of my favorite books ever. It's so good. And then I went into, I think 28 Summers after that. I mean, it's like a gateway drug into beach reads for sure.
100%. I think my first Ellen book, we could probably do an entire video all about Ellen Hildebrand if you guys want us to do that.
We could do that if you would like. Don't twist my arm.
Yeah, like, I mean,
that's fun.
My first one was Golden Girl, and I read it like a while ago, and it's a very sad book, especially if you're a mom. I'm not spoiling anything because anything I say you could read on the back synopsis. Yeah. It's about a mom who passes away, and before she like moves into the beyond, she's kind of sitting like above and watching her family from above, and she gets 3 nudges of things that she can change about what's going on in the real world, and she has 3 children. So she uses each nudge on her children to kind of like, oh, they're about to make a bad mistake, and then she nudges them in the wrong, like in the correct direction. It's a great book, but like my mom is always like, should I read it? And I'm like, probably not. Like it's kind of sad, but that was like my first 5-star Ellen book. And then it was just, I was going to say downhill from there, but like uphill from there. Cause I was like in it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I've rated any of her books like below 4 stars, maybe a 3.5 at the lowest. They're just all really good books. So if you haven't gotten into Ellen's work, I definitely would recommend doing that and maybe joining us on getting The Castaway or The Rumor. Maybe we'll end up doing that for the book club. Who knows?
That would honestly be a great choice. Another author that we love, but like, I guess we don't, maybe an author we love. Specifically one book we love by them, Sangu Mandano. She wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and she is coming out with her next book, which is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. And is it a sequel? I don't think so. I think it's just
I think it's in the same world, but like I don't think that it is a sequel. Like maybe it'd be good to read The Very Secret Society, like as maybe like there might be like a couple overlapping characters, but it doesn't seem to be a sequel. But I mean, if you look at the covers, like they look like they're
very similar. Yeah. Which I love. I love when authors like think ahead about stuff like that. When they're like, oh, okay, it's a very similar, even if like the color scheme is different, but the cover is similar, like the blue theme with the house and the pathway leading up, and there's a man and a girl and an animal. Like, I love when authors think of stuff like that, because for us who love books and love having books on our bookshelves, like it makes our hearts very happy to have books that are similar to each other, next to each other on the bookshelf.
That book like truly took me by surprise on how much I liked it, because I just thought it was going to be, you know, like a cute witchy read. Didn't really think much of it. And I'm like, I think I gave it 5 stars because I was like, I loved this book. Like I didn't expect to feel like so excited about a book about witches.
And I feel like the witchy part like almost wasn't a huge theme. It was like almost having witch in the title is kind of not like misleading, but I feel like that wasn't like a huge part. I listened to that book and I loved it on audio. I believe the characters had an accent, and it was told like it felt like a warm hug of just like listening to a really fun, cozy story as an adult. And
love it.
And 10s all around.
We've made this comparison, both of us, many times on our TikToks, but like that book reminded us of like the witchy version of The House in the Cerulean Sea, which is another book that we're really excited that's coming out this year. It's the second book to The House in the Cerulean Sea, right? By TJ Klune. It is called Somewhere Beyond the Sea. And I'm so excited to read this. It actually is making me like someone had asked, like, when do you reread books? And I don't reread books often, but I think I read that book in like October or September, will be like 2 years ago. So I'm like, I could like do a reread of that book before the next one comes out, just to kind of get my brain like refreshed on the characters. Yeah. So that's probably when I would reread a book, or if I feel like there's a book I loved that I haven't read in a while and I just want to feel that feeling again. Yeah.
Like we both read and loved The House in the Cerulean Sea, but then it's like one of those books where someone's like, oh, what's it about? And you're like, I know the gist, but I forget the details. And I feel like, 100% a book that would be a great one to reread going into the next one, because I don't think it comes out until September. So
there's some time. Well, I never read Under the Whispering Door, but I'd heard a lot of mixed things about that book. I'm still interested in reading that, but it's definitely not like the top of my TBR. But The House in the Cerulean Sea, again, is like just a big cozy hug of a book where like you fall in love with the main character, but as well as like all of these little like magical kids as well.
It's cozy. It's fun. I read Under the Whispering Door, and going back to, I think I read it at the wrong time. I picked it up at the airport when we were on our way to Hawaii. So I read it this time last year, and it's not a book that I should have sat on the beach and read, because I was on the beach, and it's kind of a sad book. It's a lot about death. Somebody passes away, and then they go to this place, which is kind of their in-between time before they decide to go to heaven or whatever you believe is up waiting for you. I didn't love it as much as I loved House in the Cerulean Sea, but a lot of people really did love it. So if it's on your
Yeah.
TBR, I would definitely say still give it a try. It just wasn't, it had big shoes to fill, and I didn't love it as much.
Timing of when you read things and order of which you read things is going to like change your feelings on them a ton. Probably we're chasing that high.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it no matter what.
And another book that you and I both read, Butcher and Blackbird, the second one is coming out, Leather and Lark. Do you think you'll give it a listen, give it a read? I'm a little bit torn. It's coming out again on June 4th.
If I have nothing else to read, maybe. I was really bummed because like this book is up my alley. I love like a serial killer, like what's it called, vigilante, where they're like killing the bad guys. And I was like, oh, and we got a romance and we got like spicy romance. And I love like dark matter, not a play on our actual book of the month, dark subject matters. Yeah, right. But I really thought this book was like super lame, like and very cheesy,
very immature.
Yeah, and as I mean, I have to remember I'm almost 30 because like as I'm like taking recs from children on TikTok, like I've got to like remember I'm older than them. I wasn't vibing with this book. And then people are like, well, you have to listen to the audiobook. And I actually hated the audiobook so much. Like the sex scenes where they're like moaning, I didn't like it. I was like, okay, I actually don't need like him to be describing what he's doing and then to hear her like tiny little moans. I was like, I'm okay. I'm at the gym. Like I don't
me on Goodreads changing my review to a 2 because I agree.
I think that my Goodreads is a 3. And then when I did my reading wrap up, I think I gave it like a 2.5. And I would probably even say a 2 now. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I will see what people say about that book when they read it and look at the Goodreads reviews. But I don't know if I'll rush to read that one at all.
I kind of agree. Like it was fine. It took TikTok by storm. And I mean, again, what you were saying about taking recs from people on TikTok, like, let's be real. Being in your 20s is even though it's only a 10-year span, there is a wide range of ages and maturity ranges and maturity levels, because when somebody's like 21 recommending a book to somebody who is 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, we're not on the same page. Like we are not the same.
Totally.
And you know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. I 100% agree. And I'm genuinely shocked that I even made it through Butcher and Blackbird. Like I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what part of me really actually enjoyed that book? I gave it a 3.5, I guess, initially. And I'm hard on thrillers. It's almost like a thriller romance.
I mean, I never felt like on the edge of my seat. I feel like it was very heavy on the romance, which also like for another book that was like technically one genre, but also another is like Divine Rivals is like fantasy, but heavy on romance. And I liked that. So it's like, I don't need it to be the specific genre. Like I'm okay with it kind of blending in between two. It just didn't hit for me, but like I don't follow like any book talkers. I think you're you and Caitlin and the people that I follow that do like lifestyle stuff that also talk about books. Just like whatever sometimes pops up on my For You page. If I see it enough times, maybe I'll put it to the top of my TBR. But I think I need to do a little bit more research because it just wasn't for me.
I also agree. I don't follow a lot of book talkers and I don't engage with any book talk content that actually comes across my For You page. I say this in like every video, and I know you agree too, because we're very similar in this. It's why we started posting book content, because I would see these videos of these people being like, this is a 5-star book. And then I go and read Butcher and Blackbird and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, what just happened? And I'm like, no, it wasn't a 5-star read. That was a 2-star in my opinion. And then that's when it brings you out to those people who are also like, oh my God, I also hated this book. And I only see people raving about it. I know I got into posting book talk content because I was like, seeing all these people rave about these books. And I'm like, wait, that literally was a dumpster fire. Like, and you liked that?
Just a lot of differing opinions, which is why books are so fun, is because you can be. But it's fun to also like, because people talk about the same books over and over and over on TikTok. It's fun to like people to talk about, different genres. Like when we talk about sci-fi thrillers, like no one really talks about those on Book Talk from what I see on my For You page.
Agreed. I feel that way about historical fiction. Like I love to read fun historical fiction books that people are like, wait, what? Like The Frozen River is literally like based in the late 1700s, and people are like, you're reading that? And I'm like, yeah, it's fun. Like it's interesting to me, and it's I don't know, I like history. I don't like history. I like history that like I can choose what I read, like not being like forced to read a history book by a teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we read a lot of like different genre type books, like more like lit fic and just kind of different stuff like thrown in with the typical book talk books.
Totally, I agree. I feel like it's like a good mixture of things.
Yeah.
Well, and as we're on the topic of book talk books, a book that I'm excited about, but I mean, I will talk about this a little bit. But the third book in the Housemaid series by Frida McFadden is coming out this summer, and it's called The Housemaid is Watching. I am a Frida McFadden slut, I guess. I read all of the books, but I don't necessarily think that they're like great books. But I read them to get me through reading ruts. I read them because they're quick reads. The content is quick and enticing and twisty, but like they are definitely not like my favorite books to read. But I get excited when a new one's coming because I'm like, cool, that'll be perfect when I read a lot of like heavy subject matter.
Yeah.
Then to switch to a book like that that's on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it'll get me like through it quick, and then I can move on to the next.
I am just looking at it on Goodreads and I'm kind of a little bit annoyed because it comes out on the same day as Swan Song. And I have a feeling it's going to beat her in the charts of like the top book of like the moment. I feel like, and also I felt this way about Just for the Summer because Rebecca Yarros announced Onyx Storm like the day before it came out, and now it's at the top list of every like book list, and I feel like Just for the Summer deserves to be there because it is out.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that The Housemaid is Watching is going to beat out every book that comes out that day by a landslide, and I just don't think it deserves it, even though I haven't even read it yet.
Like the quality of the books are just different. Like that's just straight up what it is. Like I mean, like an Ellen Hildebrand book where you're going to get like huge character development. You're going to get like the scene is going to be literally set for you. You can visualize it, you can taste it, you can feel it. And then you're going to like, and then just like a quick read thriller. Still, I'll probably still enjoy it. Yeah, they're just different. So it sounds like we just need to talk about Swan Song a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to be ramming it down everyone's throats. So open wide. It's coming. Teaspoon of Swan Song for every single one of you. With an Ellen book, you're going to get a perfectly wrapped little story. Like you're going to think there are loose ends. And then by the last sentence of her book, you will have a perfect package, especially if this is her last Nantucket novel. Like, you know, she's going out with a bang. I have the book sitting literally like on the shelf that's right by this wall.
Yeah.
And I haven't read it yet. And it's like, I don't want to read it yet. Like, I have a feeling The Housemaid is Watching is going to sweep the charts. And it's just not a book in my mind that is deserving, but it's fine. And that's a hill that I will die on.
Yeah. It sounds like you just need to read Swan Song before it comes out.
Yeah. And just like push it heavy.
Yeah. She follows both of us and she's always been really like nice in DMs. And I mean, she sent us the 5-star weekend last year too. She sent you Swan Song. I'm waiting for my package. But
because they're redoing all of her covers.
So, oh yeah, I'm saying that.
Which is honestly very satisfying because as I've been collecting them, when they're on my shelf, all of them have like her name and then the title. And then there's a few that have the title and then her name. But all of the new ones are like all going to be concise of like all look the same. Good. Oh, another thriller that we both want to read for two reasons. One, we both enjoy Riley Sager's writing, but two, In the Middle of the Night. I don't know if he like knew, like if he was like, you know what, I'm going to tie into the Eras tour that's taking the world by storm right now. But Middle of the Night by Riley Sager is coming out, and that comes out on June 18th. So a week after Swan Song. June is, everyone get your wallets ready.
Seriously.
June's coming for us.
If you're a Libby person, get right on your Libby and start reserving some books because that is going to be such a big month for new releases and like quality author good releases too. Like, so I'm really excited about that. And I think I've only, how many Riley Sager books have I read? Maybe 2 or 3, not a ton, but what I've read, I've enjoyed. And it's like they're good thrillers. They also, the covers are really fun. Like, I feel like his covers, if you're judging books by their covers, it's a good one to go with.
Yeah. I'm actually, me saying I'm a huge Riley Sager fan, while I'm actually about to DNF Final Girls by Riley Sager.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I posted it on my story, and
I saw that.
I would say that it was about 80% of people said DNF, and then like 20% said to push through. And the ones that said to push through said that like it's very slow in the first half. And I don't know, I just 150 pages of nothingness. Like I can't do it. And then I posted it on my Goodreads, and again, it was like 80-20. So I think I might skip ahead. I don't know. I don't know.
Have you ever done that where you like skip like 20% through?
No, I've skimmed where I just read like dialogue, but maybe I'll do that. But even at this point, I'm like, I truly don't care.
It's like not worth it. Like I did that on the Spanish Love Deception. I was like 50% of the way through and I was like, this book fucking sucks. I hate this book. But I wanted to finish it because I was like, I think this was like before I really even DNF'd any book. So I was like, I'm already 50%. We're going to keep going. And I skipped ahead to like 80% and just finished it. And I was like, yeah, this book sucks. It like validated every feeling I had.
Yeah. If you can skip 30% of a book and it doesn't matter, then
yeah.
Cool. I know I didn't miss anything. It's a big year for thrillers, specifically thriller authors. We'll just kind of like rapid fire through a few. By Karen Slaughter, we have This Is Why We Lied coming out. If you ever read any of her thrillers, she has a really long series, the Will Trent series. It's also a series on TV, but this is the 12th book in the Will Trent series. It's called This Is Why We Lied.
Oh, geez. I need to get on that series. Like it's hard because like I read Pretty Girls, obviously was obsessed with it. Like such a good book. I think I read that like January 2022. Like it's been a minute. Yeah. And then like I tried to read pieces of her and I didn't really like it. I DNF'd that book. And then I read one more of her books and I liked it. But I feel like they're kind of tough because like I feel like they really are kind of hit or miss.
They are. Yeah. I read The Good Daughter by her and I give it a 3. Very heavy. I believe the dad is a lawyer and the daughter is also a lawyer. So really heavy on the lawyer lingo to the point that I was like, huh? Like a lot about like court cases and the way that courts roll and, you know, all of that stuff. So it was a little bit confusing and just not nearly as like gory and graphic as Pretty Girls was, which I was expecting. So yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a bummer. But then we also have a new one from Lisa Jewell. Everyone loves Lisa Jewell. This one's called Breaking the Dark, and it seems like it's the first one in a series. So that one comes out July 2nd. So we're chugging along here. Oh my gosh. And the Karen Slaughter book comes out June 20th. So
oh my gosh. Well, yeah, if you're already in the Will Trent series, that's going to be exciting for you. That's a little intimidating for me, like a 12 book series. Like I'm like, it's also like I like to read a variety of books. And like even right now I'm like reading 2 series. So I'm like reading a spicy romance series and then I'm reading a thriller series. And it's like, okay, I'm kind of ready to like move on, but I have a hard time not just like reading everything straight through. Like I feel like I can't take like breaks in between it. So it just feels like I'm like very much in these worlds.
And honestly, like a 12 book series, I mean, we read 8, 10, 11, 12. I just skipped 9. I don't know why. Books a month. And that could be one entire month of reading, but I could not imagine sitting down and just like diving into 12 books of the same genre by the same author in the same world. So like, is it going to take me the rest of the year to dive into the series?
If anyone's read the Will Trent series on Patreon, let us know your thoughts on it. If it's like worth diving into, is it something that we need to like read consistently, or can we like read a book a month? Will it take us a year to get through it? I don't know. Like, let us know if that's worth it. Cause I've been very curious about that.
I have the first one. It's called Triptych. I haven't read it yet. It's been sitting on my shelf, dude.
Literally, I think you guys are like this.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, another thriller. It's a year for thrillers. David Ellis, one of my favorite authors. I've only ever read one of his books. Closer, but we have another one. The Best Lies is coming out on July 23rd. And if it's anything like Look Closer, I'm excited. I loved his writing. It's twist after twist after twist. You don't know where it's going. And I love that.
I liked that book a lot too. I'm excited to read that next book as well. Is that all the thrillers?
I think that's all of the thrillers that I added to my want to read list. And then we also have a little spicy romance that you and I devoured the whole series. And we have the 4th book, Play Along, in the Windy City series, book number 4. We're following Rio.
Is it Rio or Rico? Now I'm like, I want to say it's Rio because Rico sounds wrong.
We are following Isaiah.
What are we thinking of?
Rio is the person who everybody said deserved a book.
I thought that I'm actually so confused because like it's the guy that's on the baseball team that's kind of immature, right?
Yeah. Isaiah.
Wait, am I thinking of Isaiah?
So Isaiah is the immature guy. Rio is the one that everybody said deserves a book. In my opinion, I think he deserves a book more than Isaiah does because Isaiah's immature and annoying.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking of the same person, but I like of who the book is about, but I'm thinking of the other person that I wanted it to be about. Okay.
You're
Yeah,
manifesting.
Kennedy. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm also like, this is an interesting switch on this series. So if you haven't read the Windy City series, the first book follows, it's a hockey romance. They're all spicy romances, but like, I think that Liz Tomford also does a really good job with character development, and the spice is good. It's not cringy. I don't skip it because sometimes if I have to skip a spicy romance chapter, like I'm already not enjoying this book.
You're
But
done.
the first book follows a hockey romance. The second book is basketball. Third book is baseball. And then this third book or fourth book will also be baseball.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Caught Up was definitely my favorite. I feel like The Right Move was also great. A lot of people ask, I feel like you can skip the first one. Like, I really don't think it's necessary to read the first one. I personally really didn't like the first one. I felt like there was a ton of emphasis on how much money he has and her weight.
Yeah.
Like her thick thighs, her this, her that. And I'm not like, I'm literally quoting from the book. And it got to the point where I was like, we get it. We get it that she is a thick girl and we get that you are rich and we get that she is not. And it was
Yeah.
kind of like annoying that I'm like, okay, like I want to know about you. I don't care about your wallet size or her
For
pants
sure.
size.
Well, and it's like, what is so shocking about a athlete being interested in a woman that is quote unquote thicker? Like, it feels like, yeah, like that was like such an emphasis. And I'm like, what does that have anything to do with their love story? Like,
Love like having different body types represented in books. Like I love that because you can really picture different people who you imagine as characters, whether it's actresses or like people you know in real life or influences or anything. Like when you read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like I imagine this person as being the main character here. It was such an emphasis that it was like overly too much, where I was like, okay, like she has a great personality too and a big butt. Like let's talk about her amazing personality rather than her body. She is a great person. Like let's talk about that more.
Enjoyed the first one, but once I read Ryan's story in the second book and then I read Kai's story in the third book, I was like, the first book is just, it doesn't hold a candle to the other two.
Yeah. Brooke Milne actually texted me and she was like, you need to read the Windy City series. And I was like, okay, like whatever. Read the first one and I texted her back and I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this at all. Like what she was like, keep going. Like you have to get to the third one. Like the third one is my favorite. And the third one was home run.
Ryan's calling me. Let's see.
Okay.
Hello. Well, don't worry about it because I'm filming with Brady right now.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Hi, Ryan.
Or that's all the ones that I have on my end.
I think that's all the ones on my end as well. I mean, I feel like that's a really good roundup of books. I mean, we have romance, we have tons of thriller, which really excited about that.
Yeah, let us know if you were missing anything or if there's any books that are coming out that you're excited about. We can also just like, do you want to run through some of the books that are on our TBR right now?
Yeah, let's go through our post on Brady Rosie Book Talk of our TBR books that we're looking at reading within the months coming up.
I have Just for the Summer on there, which we obviously have chatted about a little bit. I probably will pick that one up after these books that I'm currently reading.
I have As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, and I believe it's a YA book, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Not gonna lie, 100% chose this book based on the cover. I keep seeing it on Book of the Month, and I think I might add it to my box next month and grab it. A book that has been recommended to me. I mentioned it in my April TBR video. So many of you guys have said it's amazing. So definitely bumping that to the top of my list.
Nice. I haven't even heard of that one.
Me neither until I saw it on Book of the Month. And I was like, what is that gorgeous cover? I need to have that on my shelf.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I have Iron Flame on my TBR, which I started it back in November. We talked about this a little bit, I think, in the last Patreon video. But I got my husband to read Fourth Wing. So I don't know if anyone else's partners do this. So let me know. But Ryan always brings a book on vacation with him. And he truly just takes this book sightseeing because he doesn't even open the book once. The book just takes a trip to Mexico every single time. Like he didn't even open the book once. And I'm like, backing it. I'm like, are you really going to bring that big ass book with you to Mexico? Like, are you going to read it? He's like, yeah, I'm going to read it on the flights. I'm like, okay. He didn't crack it open once. So I do want to read Iron Flame, but I want to try to coordinate reading it when he's going to read it so we can like discuss. So I don't know. He said he's going to start it this month. I'm unsure though.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you how he's doing on his journey of reading but I think that's a great book for you guys to read together.
Yeah.
Because now this time when you're like, what the fuck is a parapet? You have someone to chat about with it
Yeah.
because literally what?
Yeah, I think it'll be better to read together because then maybe I won't feel as like rushed to read it as well. And I can like, we can discuss a little bit more, but we read definitely at different paces. So I am unsure if we will be able to sync up, but we'll see if I get around to it this month. It could be when he's off for work at the end of May. Maybe I'll pick it up around then too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would be a great one to kind of like buddy read all summer long together and just kind of
Yeah.
like take your time because what we have, I think January 2025 is when the new one's coming out.
Yeah, that's also why I'm like not in a rush because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a minute until the next one comes out. Like even I was so excited I read Fourth Wing at a good time. I was like, oh my God, perfect. I'm reading Fourth Wing, and then 2 weeks later, Iron Flame will come out. But I like just again didn't give a rat's ass about it. So didn't work out as much as I wanted it to.
No, I love it. We're all so excited about Iron Flame, and then it's been sitting on my shelf just collecting dust.
Yep.
I think it's a spicy romance. I'm not really sure if there's any spice in it, but Ready or Not, that's a book that I got as my February book of the month. For anybody out there who doesn't like a pregnancy trope, I would not recommend it because literally in the dust jacket synopsis, the woman, I believe there is a pregnancy that happened. So
Yep.
if you don't like that, I would definitely skip it. But a bunch of you commented on my TikTok about it and said that you really loved it. And it was a cute, easy, fun read. So excited about that one. And we'll see where it falls.
Yeah, I've actually like right before we hopped on this call, I was watching a TikTok of someone recommending that book.
Oh, good.
And so I was like, oh, I'm pretty positive that was Brady's book that she wanted to read. The other book that I want to read is I Am Pilgrim, which is so funny because I cannot believe I've never read this book because I feel like very well known, but they don't even have it at our library. I was going to look at it on Libby because I bet that would be easy for me to check out. But it's not even on Libby or anything. But it's a thriller, right? Because you've read it.
I read this book back in, I want to say 2020, on my old Kindle, like my old dilapidated Kindle that was just like it was like my first ever Kindle. I don't even know what category to put it in because it's definitely a thriller-ish, almost like a worldwide terrorist.
Yeah.
It's just like attacking like different points of the world. And I don't know, there's just like so many scenes in it that are like popping into my mind now that I'm talking about it. And once you put it on the TBR, like on the Canva, I literally immediately texted you and I was like, I want to buddy read this with you because I read it years ago. I forget a lot what happens. I remember the overall gist. And it is a wild ride. It is a book that's one of those books that's like unlike anything you've ever read or you ever probably will read.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm really excited about reading that one. That's like been at the top of my TBR for a minute. And I'm like, once I finish these 2 series that I'm reading, and then obviously I'm reading Dark Matter as well.
Yeah.
But I'm going to like probably shoot that one and Just for the Summer up to the top. Cause I'm like, I really want to get through those 2 this month.
It's more of like a heavier book too. So it might take you like a minute, but it's once you're in, like you're in, and it's really freaking good. So I am very much so looking forward to rereading that with you. I'm inviting myself to tag along on that one because it's freaking good.
Well, yeah, you're invited. It'll be fun to read together.
Yeah, I'm excited. And my last one on my current TBR is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This is a book that has been recommended to me so many times, specifically back last summer when I read Educated. And I was like, this is the best memoir I've ever read in my entire life. And everyone was like, you need to read The Glass Castle. I don't know. It's just on my list. And I asked on TikTok if people recommend listening to it or reading it because I love to listen to memoirs. I think I might listen to it. It's just another memoir to add to my belt.
Love that. I know you are Miss Memoir.
Yeah. Which kind of leads into, we can chat about what we're reading right now.
Yeah.
I'm currently listening to Julia Fox's memoir, Down the Drain. And like,
great. From you and others.
I have it is genuinely like the most wild ride. It feels like I'm listening to a movie. I have no words, and I'm not like a huge like Julia Fox fan, but I do love her voice. Like anytime I see an interview with her, like I always stop and watch it. She is, I mean, I have no words. Like it is definitely going to be a 5-star for me, but if you're planning on reading it, if it's on your TBR, you have to listen to it because she narrates it and it's heartbreaking and crazy. Absolutely. It's just a wild fucking ride. I don't even know what's happening next.
Yeah. Well, and what, you're only 4 chapters in and you're just like so shook by it.
Yeah. And the really crazy part is each chapter is long. They're like an hour and 10-minute long chapters. And the book isn't like super long. So I'm assuming I can obviously look like it's literally I'm listening to it on Spotify. 38% of the way through. There are only 12 chapters in the whole book, but I'm at the point now where she is only 16 years old. And I didn't realize that. Like, she only mentions her age like a few times throughout the chapters. And what this girl, like, she was like 11 smoking crack.
Holy
Like,
shit.
like she has like her nipples pierced at age like 13. And
Oh
it's
my God.
just, yeah. And it's like at one point she was talking, her friend was like, oh, like I can't wait to get my boobs done. And Julia's like, Trish, you're 15. And I'm like, oh my God, like you're 15. Like you think you're reading about like 25-year-old people.
Yeah.
Like it's wild. I
Crazy.
literally, like, every chance I get, I'm playing it. I'm constantly listening to it.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I should listen. I'm not like, I don't listen or like read a ton of memoirs. I'm not against them. I just normally like am not like, that's not like something that shoots to the top of my list. But I feel like I need to like kind of enter a memoir era of like, or just like I'm just such a fiction girl that I'm like, I probably could read a couple nonfiction books
But
here and
like
there.
also there's so many memoirs that are true that read like not like that read like fiction. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those. Also, like, Educated is crazy. I also think The Glass Castle is kind of similar to Educated, where like they live in like an off the grid kind of vibe. But like both of those books read like books that I was like, holy shit, these people are actually like, this is actually happening. So
Yeah.
those are two that I think are good to start with, that don't feel like you're reading about someone's life.
Yeah. Educated is also very much on my list. I need to read that one.
I think you'll like that one. So what are you currently reading?
Is that all you're reading right now? Or are you reading anything else?
I'm reading Final Girls by Riley
Oh,
Sager, but
yeah.
I'm not vibing with it. So I'm currently only listening to that. I'm kind of in a slump a little bit just because of that book. Final Girls is making me not want to pick it up. So just kind of vibing with Down the Drain right now.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like I'm like in a teeny bit of a slump. I honestly just think I've just been feeling like a little bit like busy, that like reading hasn't been like hitting the same.
Yeah.
But I'm reading the 4th book in this. It's called the Collector series. It's the book, The Butterfly Garden, that I mentioned recently. I've been talking about it. It's the 4th book in the series. It's very much like Criminal Minds vibes.
Okay.
And the only thing that I'm not loving as much is like the first book tells you a lot from like the victim's perspective of when they were captive. This one is a lot about like the crime happening in the moment. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not as interested. Like I want to hear more about the people being held captive. That makes sense. So I've been listening to that one on audiobook, and then I'm reading the 4th book in that like spicy hockey romance by Megan Quinn. It's called He's Not My Type. And I actually am loving it. This one is my favorite one so far. Like the guy's kind of quiet. He lost his brother. So he's kind of, like just secluded. He's a big reader as well. His favorite Taylor Swift song is The One. I was like, okay, King. Yeah, there's like a point in like, like how social media managers for like sports team will be like, what are your favorite Taylor Swift songs? And people are like, that one, the Shake It song. And like, they're being stupid. And his response was The One. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of vibing with you.
Yeah.
So I'm really liking that book. And then I'm reading Dark Matter. I read the first week's worth of Dark Matter. And then the next chapter is like 35 minutes on Kindle. So I was like, okay, I need to like hold off on this, but I'm fucking loving Dark Matter all over again. I just love it.
I needed to hear that because I'm like nervous to reread it, but I'm excited because it's like starting it all over again because it's such a wild ride. I feel like my brain didn't fully like comprehend what happened. And I was just like, 5 stars. But now this time around, it's like, I get to really focus on what's going on. So maybe I'll pick that up tonight.
I definitely was like, that's the book that I'm like feeling like so excited about reading again, but I'm trying to pace myself just because like I want to like, just do it. I'm not even weekly, but I just didn't want to binge it like in a couple days. But there's even like a lot of like foreshadowing in the first couple chapters. If like, the ending, like you kind of are like, oh, like even when he gets kidnapped, this is not a spoiler because it's literally in the back of the book, but when he gets kidnapped, and all of you should be up on your reading. But you like know who's kidnapping him.
Gotcha.
And it's like, oh, like all of these things that are being said make so much sense. And so it's like reading it from a different perspective. But even my sister-in-law, she just finished it last night and she was like, I love that book. Like that was a great impact. I'm like,
I love it.
Thank you.
And that's a good thing about our book club, because like we were talking, we read a lot of different genres, and I feel like people hear sci-fi thriller and they're like, huh? Like computers and like, you know, like that's where my mind goes. So I feel like we're introducing a lot of people to a lot of new genres, and it's a great place to be. I mean, tons of good books out there in genres that we might not even think about reading.
Yeah, Blake Crouch's book sales are like zing, because everyone is going to read, like, I guarantee, like Recursion, the Wayward Pines trilogy. Again, I think I read Upgrade at a bad time, but I did not. I think I gave Upgrade like 3 stars. It did not do it for me like Recursion and Dark Matter did, and the Wayward Pines. So, but I have a feeling that people are gonna like want to read more of his books, which they're so well done. I need him to come out with a new book.
Literally read my mind. I'm going on Goodreads right now to see like when did Dark Matter even come out? Because
like in 2016, I want to say.
Literally 2016. Like we need more. Like
more along those same lines. I also, I'm like, I don't know when any of these were released, because like the Wayward Pines trilogy, like there's a whole ass TV show about it. So it came out a while ago.
Wow. Okay, so Recursion came out in 2019. Wayward Pines, the first book, came out in 2012. The second one, 2013. The third one didn't come out until 2022. Could you imagine waiting almost 10 years to find out how that ended?
All for a sentence.
Okay, these covers are different on here, so it might be like the cup. So that is probably incorrect.
I was like, wait a minute. Like, how did he all for like the epilogue being like one singular sentence?
No.
So like, if I was someone that read those first 2 and that didn't come out, I got to assume it came out somewhat in the close timeline.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably like 1 year after each other.
I think Upgrade might be the most recent release. If I'm.
Yeah, it's been. We need more, Blake.
Yeah, Blake. Yeah, Blake, if you're listening, we would like a new book.
Are you in your rep era? He's like, you know, he's going to come back out. He's in hiding right now. He'll be back.
If you guys have any like questions or topics of what you want to discuss, like Brady had said, feel free to comment them down below. And thanks for listening to us ramble about books.
Yeah. And we love you guys. And thanks for hanging out with us. And like Rosie said, let us know what you want to see from us next, because while we do love a topic, I mean, we can talk about anything. If you guys want like a general Q&A from us, we can do that. We can do, you know, book focused stuff. So let us know what you want to see, because your girls can ramble about anything.
Clearly, I think we've been talking for over an hour.
Yeah. Love it.
All right. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you
guys.
Bye.